Alrighty, Algebra 2, in this example, we're going to be writing an equation given a graph. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So, when I look at the graph that I'm given, I know that I can write an equation in standard form. The prompt doesn't specify whether it wants an equation written in standard form or in factored form. So I'm going to go ahead and just reach for factored form because that's going to be the easiest. So I'm going to start this off by writing y equals, and then I'm going to put a letter for a here because that's going to be our stretch. I don't know what our stretch is just yet. So I'm going to see this first factor right here. And this first factor is at -3. So I've got a 0 at -3. I've got another 0 at x equals +1. And I've got another 0 at x equals 4. Now remember, to write it in factored form, we need to put this inside our parentheses. I always like to set each of these equal to 0. So to do that, I'm just going to add 3 to both sides of the equation, and I end up with x plus 3 equals 0. And bam, here's my first factor, x plus 3. And then for the other factors, well, I have x equals 1. I want to set it equal to 0. Subtract 1 on both sides, and I end up with x minus 1 equals 0. And there's my other factor, x minus 1. And then for the last one, I'm going to subtract 4 on both sides, and I end up with x minus 4 is my last factor. So x minus 4. And I'm going to erase this now since we don't need it anymore. So I've written it in factored form. And now we need to figure out what this a is here. This is going to be our stretch. Okay, now to figure out what our stretch is, what we can do is we can pick any other point on our graph and we can substitute those xy values into the equation that we have so far and solve for a. So in this case, I like to reach for the y-intercept. So 0, -24. And the reason I like to reach for the x-intercept is because I like to work with easy numbers, and 0 is usually an easy number to work with. So I'm going to plug 0 in for x, and I'm going to plug -24 in for y. So -24 equals, I don't know what my a is. That's what I'm trying to figure out. And then put 0 in for x. 0 minus 1 and 0 minus 4. Okay, let's start simplifying. I end up with a times 3 times -1 times -4. And when I multiply all of those numbers together, I end up with, let's see, 3 times -1 is -3. -3 times -4 is +12. Okay. Now, to solve for a, I just have to divide by 12 on both sides. And -24 divided by 12 is -2. So I figured out what my a is. So this a, I'm going to come back into my equation up here and substitute it up there. So my final equation for this problem is y equals -2, x plus 3, x minus 1, x minus 4. Thanks for watching. In the next video, we'll go over writing an equation given a data table.